All right, so today we are excited to have Stephanie with us, who is the Director of Student Services at Deer Creek Public Schools. And I just call her Comfort Closet Czar, but in charge of this Comfort Closet, and pretty much a new concept to me. I attended a meeting back in the fall, early fall, with the superintendent, and we have these faith-based meetings where we get together, several of the pastors from our area with the superintendent and just hear what's going on in the district. And we've been a supporter of Deer Creek for a long time. We're in the Deer Creek School District, and we have had 2 meetings here for redistricting over the past 2 decades. And so we have consistently partnered with the local schools, with the teachers, with the kids, and looking for different ways to serve. And I have mentioned over the years how those needs have shifted and changed a lot as we have watched the district grow. From very small or much smaller to much larger and more diverse. And so something I learned during this meeting was about Comfort Closet and about some of the changing demographics in our area that I really hadn't been paying much attention to. And you may find them shocking. I found them shocking. So thank you so much for being here with us today. And I just wanted to kind of maybe ask, first of all, what is Comfort Closet and who benefits from this new service?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me here today to explain this and talk more about the Comfort Closet and what we do, in our student services for Deer Creek. But the Comfort Closet started, I would say, years and years ago, just in the different schools, just as, some extra pants and things like that in case a student had an accident or something like that. And then it kind of grew to having some extra coats on hand for students who didn't remember their coat for the day. It really, in Deer Creek, has not been a well-publicized or a big need. Kids just haven't needed that until just recently. And just some statistics. Right now, we have 22 students in Deer Creek schools who are experiencing homelessness. 24% of our student population is economically disadvantaged. They receive free and reduced lunches, and we try to help out as much as possible with that. So some of the things that we do are like the device protection plan, where you buy insurance for your laptop or your iPad at school. We discount that. We have our Comfort Closet is at the middle school right now in a small room, and we collect toiletries and non-perishables and clothes, gently used clothes that are clean and can be reused, all those kinds of things. But who it serves would be our families experiencing homelessness, and then also any of our families who just have a need. Sometimes it's a temporary need, sometimes it's a long-term need, but we like to be there for them. And it's growing. I think 2 years ago, our economically disadvantaged was around 10% of our population, and now we're up to 25% just in the last about year and a half.
So are there any stories you can share about I know this summer got hit really hard with Comfort Closet, and some of you don't know this, but we don't have, so there's not like a city out here. We are, our church even is in an unincorporated part of Oklahoma County. There's not a city of Deer Creek, and so there is a group that is forming together, and they tried years ago, I know, and they've really been more successful this time with forming kind of what you would think of as a chamber of commerce, and they did a lot of work towards the Comfort Closet in the summer, and then those, from what I understand, that got cleaned out pretty quickly. So can you share about the impact of that?
Yeah, absolutely. There was a day in July when we, the schools and the Business Association and the Creek Foundation, they had a school supply drive, and lots of school supplies were donated, and we decided to open up our Comfort Closet that same day for families to come in. And the school supplies were wiped out within 45 minutes. They had a line, if you are familiar with our PAC, the building where they play basketball and they have the big stage and everything. There was a line down the ramp that wrapped around the side of the building. And then at the Comfort Closet, we had about 200 families come in that day, which we were blown away that many came. And we also were wiped out within an hour. We started with 17 racks of clothes and ended up with about 2. And all the food was gone, all of the hygiene items and toiletries were gone. And we served a lot of people, but we could have served a lot more.
Yeah.
So But yeah, I mean, those families, the families who live out at Whitefields, it's a domestic violence shelter, and Hope House runs that shelter. There are some that we serve as well. Those are all considered families experiencing homelessness. And they look to us for school supplies, for new shoes, for different things like that for the kids so that they can come to school and learn, because we know those needs have to be met. Food, clothing, shelter, before students can even open their minds to learn.
So is there one or two things that or something that jumps out at you that you would want people to know about kids that are experiencing homelessness that maybe we don't quite understand?
Absolutely. Homelessness, in our minds, I think the stereotypical homelessness thought is someone, with a sleeping bag who downtown in a tent, that kind of thing. But it's really not. We have families who are experiencing homelessness who have had a fire, and so they're living with another family temporarily. We have families who have experienced domestic violence, and so they're doubled up with a family. Sometimes it's in an apartment where there's just really not enough room. Sometimes it's with other family members, but it has to be temporary. And then, of course, we have our moms who are out there at Hope House at Whitefields who are experiencing this for domestic violence, and they're coming in, they're getting their lives back together. They're learning how to request their birth certificates for their children, how to get their immunizations up to date, all those kinds of things. And they live out there for about 18 months, and then they move on to different housing. But every one of the families we work with are working so hard to climb out of it. And so everything we can do to help is so, so appreciated.
So we're raising funds during Do Good, which will go, when we write our checks to our nonprofits, they are unrestricted funds, which means we don't have any restrictions on them. Basically, they can use it wherever they need to. And a lot of our nonprofit partners find that helpful because a lot of the money they get is restricted. And we're like, if it needs to go to pay the light bill, or if it needs to go for shelving, or if it needs to go to something boring, we're okay with that because we know all of that infrastructure is important for the nonprofits to do what they're doing. But if there was something that we could collect, or is there a way to get involved, or what can folks that are hearing this today, how can they get involved in Comfort Closet to help out?
Well, I love, what you're doing right now with the with your Do Good campaign. I think for like tangible items, I think things like winter outerwear is going to be a big deal coming up in the next month or so. Lots of, coats aren't cheap, and some are, but then they're not as warm, and just, things like mittens and hats and gloves and scarves, those are always good. Warm footwear, things that they can wear in the winter, especially when it's snowy. If you're ever cleaning out your closet for fall or winter and you have some clothes that you'd like to give, we would love to take those. You can drop them off at the middle school. That's where the Comfort Closet is located, or at the administration building, and I'll get them there. But no, we appreciate what you're doing so much.
And I think we're going to do a drive here, folks. So if you want to do that in November, and then so you'll be able to bring them here, and we'll have them transported over there for you. We've got some folks who'll do that. So thank you. Give her a round of applause. Thank you so much for sharing with us today. Appreciate it.